with the set ban last DRX. What's going to be their final ban? And it's really difficult. It's not like anything is really standing out, as it's going to be the Aphelios.
Yep, Senna still available, but LeBlanc also still available. He's going to lock away here, as there are still some priority picks on the board. But I do want to see Keria with a bit more agency this game. I felt like the support Jarvan really wasn't able to do too much, and there is the Jace picked away from Canna. Doran going to be running it back once again, very similar to game number 1. And so far, I mean, with these two champions, they do have an identity, right? There is a poke composition awaiting DRX if they would like it.
Yep. The only worrying thing, though, is that the Jace is... I don't want to say that it's off theme with the Ziggs. It obviously does have the poke aspect, but in terms of raw scaling, things can definitely be drafted by T1 that makes it really hard for the Jace to achieve anything, and it can just come down to the Ziggs once again, and Gragas being picked up.
Love it.
As, yeah, he is definitely the lord of the jungle in all of his righteous plump.
Yes, his all of his glory. Of course, Cuz just very, very good at the champion as well. As the Lucian pickup, I think is great. I think that might have been where Chovy was thinking about going, to be perfectly honest. And that is likely to be Canna's counterpick option into this Jace on the top side of the map. We know that Chovy can play the Jace, so there are opportunities to pick something as far as a counter matchup. But Goshik back to the champion that he was spamming in the Damwon series. And they did have a lot of priority on the Sejuani that has gone missing now in this game. And so with jungle already locked away for T1, I actually really don't mind the Sejuani being locked in here for Kyoshik.
Sejuani will have to see what she can end up achieving and what the rest of this draft is going to be rounded out with. That could be the Lucian in mid lane. Could be Kana just saying, hey, I'm going to take Lucian against Jace up in top. And we've seen that matchup before here in LCK, as Akali is now going to bite the dust.
Akali and LeBlanc will probably be the DRX bans. What that means for T1 is going to be an interesting question, because they can, of course, run whatever they would like in their solo lanes with the Gragas there to substitute for any lack of magic damage. Aurelia taken away from Doran potentially, and, of course, from Chovy, who did have a decent game on that champion as well, despite it being, I believe, a loss for DRX. Doran was the one that picked up a win on the pickup.
Well, final ban here.
LeBlanc button. There it is.
There's the LeBlanc. It is banned away. Aurelia banned away by T1, as Aurelia is one of the champions that can go up against Lucian inside of a solo lane, clip him once, and then just never let go of an advantage.
Expecting to see a support banned away here, likely to be the Thresh from Keria. I'd personally like to see a Thresh being picked up. Does help the Ziggs greed a little bit more, but it is going to be Pantheon taken away from DRX right now. We'll see where counterpick is going to belong, as, Ziggs Pike could certainly be fun.
Well,
Keria's going to lock it away. This is what you need to do. Pull out all the stops.
Pike coming out for Keria. He's probably the best Pike in the LCK.
Oh, pardon me.
As no,
very
T1.
standard bottom lane, with the Maokai being considered.
Okay, Maokai now locked in, and again, these are all still flex picks. Maokai can go top lane. He could go bot, as Galio. That is one of Faker's old general picks.
Oh, yeah.
As he can really control the game on it, but instead, now moving over to Vladimir, and now the Rumble being
A few different choices, as Rumble's going to be locked away. And now we're going to continue down that flex path. Rumble can be going top or mid lane, and Lucian in a very similar position. Now Chovy thinking about what he wants to pick up here. It looks like Zillion being hovered for the moment. Could theoretically be flex top if they've been taking any points out of our friend Ixu's book. Now going to switch back to an Aatrox that, well, not super psyched about, but that is fine. If it goes over to Chovy, then maybe it's going to be a fun matchup. We'll see whether Aatrox is going to try and follow around this Rumble.
Yeah, and we have Kana maybe piloting the Rumble up in top lane. No, it's now they're going to swap around a little bit, and we still have to decide where everything's going to be going. Chovy on the Aatrox. DRX again with a very sinful team composition where all the pressure is going to fall onto the Ziggs and then the Pyke to some extent in the later stages. It's going to be very easy to itemize to invalidate the Aatrox and the Jace in the later stages. Maokai being the support champion that's going to get amplified by the Fasting Senna is really scary for this DRX's team composition. And really, if these lanes for DRX in mid and top fall behind, Sejuani is not the type of jungler that you want to control it. And it's so surprising. Pyoshe constantly on Trundle and Sejuani. And when the laners fall behind, or even if they're slightly ahead, it's so off theme with some of the other champions that are in the game. So we'll see what they can do, Atlas. I think that T1 yet again find themselves with the advantage.
Yeah, and it's once again DRX that has all of the onus on them to win in the early game and to make the plays to put them ahead. And it's just very unlike T1 to give a team any sort of opportunity to get those sort of leads. So I don't know what DRX is going to be able to manufacture this game, but I really hope that CV Max gave them that pep talk to keep the spirits high as we look at game number 3, because DRX, it is do or die right now, and they need to do it 3 games in a row if they want to face off against Gen G on the weekend.
Well, here is going to be the start of what could be the final game between DRX and T1. This could be the killing blow to knock them out of playoffs, and that would mean that T1 would go on to face Gen G in the finals on Saturday.
That epic matchup, the best of 5 rematch of the 2017 World Championship, has never really felt like the same matchup, you know? 2018, SKT were not the team that they were formerly. Felt like Gen G really had knocked them down a literal peg in the LCK. And then Gen G having a similar collapse moving into 2019, where they weren't able to stand up against the T1 that was demolishing everyone here domestically at least. But now, with all of the changes, Gen G certainly looking very, very strong, as many would have predicted after picking up so many fantastic players. Going over these runes, still there is an opportunity. There is still a world where DRX are able to win this game and gain some momentum moving into the last couple. And if we remember back to Worlds, it was always 4-game series. We always had the 4-game series. It wasn't so much the 5, there was a lot of 4s. So maybe this will be another one of those.
Well, we'll see if DRX can manage to pull a rabbit out of their hat and try to come up with a win in this game. We do have another exciting game of Dragons, as Cloud's the first one to come up.
Yep.
As they're highlighting Chovy, 8-3 on the Aatrox.
And that was also during the time where he played one of the games top lane. So far this season, I think he's played 3 games of the Aatrox. Been pretty successful so far as well.
And so far, all the lanes, though, pretty stable. Nothing too chaotic happening. Pyoshe with the red side jungle clear. Looking like he's
I'm just going to need to be right back 1 second. My cat needs to go to the bathroom. I gotta let him in. So, we'll have a look at this stun first. It's great knockback. Phone skewer, fully charged. Faker has to flash. And now Deft running for the hills. I don't know what happened to get him into this position, but doesn't have to flash. Good satchel charge gets him out. And yeah, well, I'm going to buy that bit of time while you break that down, okay?
Yeah, I'm going to break that down. So they try to go for a play in mid lane. They do apply some pressure to Faker, but the dynamic of the Rumble and the Aatrox matchup is that Rumble's able to just play pretty defensively in the early stages if he wants to, even though Aatrox is a traditional counter to the champion.
Yeah, I am back. Thank you so much for that one.
Yeah, not a big
These
deal.
Rengar ganks, they happen sometimes, man, when we're playing remote. There's Rengar protection when we're at Lol Park, but not so much in my home with 2 wild ones running around. It's certainly all for one Rengar when it comes to the pets of this house. As Faker is back in this lane, does have the lane state in a decent position. Chovy 4-0 so far, so I told a lie. played it a couple of times. More recently, as there you can see, he's pretty comfortable here in this lane, but still no meaningful leads just yet, as Cuz making his way around, looking to try and punish Doran yet again.
And we can see that basically the pathing by both of the junglers, they end up not really doing anything too impactful in the early stages. You can see Cuz maybe waiting for Sejuani, but instead just going to start up the jungle.
Okay. He thought that was coming up. He's like, it's bound to be coming up now. There we go. There it is. But instead, he's looking for a potential gank as Pyosik is going to turn up in time. Cuz shows himself at the wrong moment, actually, as Winter's Wrath is going to go wide. That is going to keep Doran alive for the moment. Good timing there from Pyosik for what feels like the first time this series.
Yeah, he ends up being there. I mean, he's pathing towards the golem, so it's inevitable that he's going to end up there.
It was on his World of Warcraft quest line.
Yes.
Anyway, I understand that.
This is like when you have to do a world quest and the thing that you're trying to kill just happens to be pathing.
Yeah,
into you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're able to help other people out doing it as well.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
One of those sort of team ones. Like it a lot. Scaria picks himself up a minion. That's going to be the last one. Maybe a cheater recall timing here for DRX. But so far you can see T1 actually doing fantastically well, keeping up on farm. And Effort will be ahead of Deft as they do make their way back into this lane. Teleport available for both Effort and for Deft. And they might utilize those to get back to lane, as you can see, onto the turret there for Deft right now. As they will crash this minion wave, most likely, unless Carrier can hold on to it. And looks like they are going to. Bone Skewer comes out. Carrier can get a potential stun here, but he's just going to get snared up. Deft, they would offer a bit of damage back as the bouncing bomb not quite enough. And this Wizard Ziggs is trying to do what he can to get this magic in line for DRX. And that's a really good back stopped there by Carrier. His Deft is fantastic. His Pike is fantastic, so looking forward to seeing whether he can take control of this mid-game, as Cuz is going to spot that there are about 1 trillion wards here towards the top side in their own jungle, but isn't even going to get there to get rid of them, so Doran's going to be a little bit happier this time around, as Chovy will be able to get himself the farm advantage back in this mid lane once again.
And Teddy looks like he is trying to rotate around on Senna. And you can see the freeze actually down in bot lane. This is, normally a lot of teams are pretty allergic to this, but because of what's happening, Maokai can't walk up safely. Now he might be able to unlock it. It depends what Deft and Carrier actually elect to do, but because Teddy didn't immediately path back down, things can definitely get a bit dangerous. Now Pike doesn't have his flash available, Maokai does. But it looks like they're just looking to try to make something happen. Chovy cannot see Senna.
Yeah, a bit of a Senna gank possibility here, as Faker does have his equalizer available, but just burns down this minion wave. Doran finds a really nice trade there onto Canna as the culling avoided for the majority. That's going to mean that Doran does stay alive. Cuz looking for an opportunity to get up here, but a turret shot is taken, and the Lucian unable to continue. Carrier now getting himself into his own side of the jungle to try and help out with Pyosik and Doran, as Deft's freeze has been broken, and Teddy comes back down towards the bottom side now. A bit more of an advantage for T1 down here. Deft is going to miss a few of these creeps as well. We should be able to at least gather the majority of the experience.
Well, T1, they find themselves down a little bit in the gold department, but it's not the end of the world by any means. As still no one really showing any incentive to pick up the Cloud Dragon, as Pyosik is going for a lane gank up here in top lane. And this might actually pan out, although Kana is trying to hard shove this wave. This could be really rough.
Yep, Pyosik's position not given away just yet. Has the ultimate, and they land it onto the Lucian. No opportunity to flash or anything like that, and he is just going to be taken down. First blood going over to DRX, and they do not get killed in the trade. So nicely done. They have at least upgraded on that front.
And now Pyosik, he's going to turn his attention to trying to start up the Rift Herald. You can see the ping going down onto it. Now Rumble does have his flash available again. You can see the remaining members of DRX are rotating up. Ziggs does not have the teleport available. Faker's there. Gonna harpoon Carrier, get the bone plating out of him. Teddy is running up, but it seems like they're keen on just giving it up. They don't have teleport on the Maokai. Senna down in bot lane as well, and Nice little advantages being picked up by them right now, but not the end of the world if you are a T1 fan.
Yeah, we'll just have to see where Shelly is going to go and how much money they're able to actually get out of this one. I think that if Doran's given a bit of an extra lead with some turret plates, gets to his second lethality item, then Canna's not going to be able to fight him from that point onwards. And it was Doran that picked up the kill here as well, as you can see. So I do like it. Some opportunities now for DRX to get behind the player that really hasn't been standing out on DRX, and that has been Doran so far this series. But he was a bit of a fine wine against Damwon Gaming, able to step up when it counted in that game number 5. So might be able to use some of that resilience here to try and win out in this game 3. As he's looking to turn it onto Canna. Good combo, but there's another culling. And thankfully, the wall is going to give Doran an out here, as Teddy should be able to help take down this Cloud Drake. And we'll see what the next dragon is going to be and give us some options when it comes to the Dragon Soul. And it's going to be either Ocean or Infernal. This is a spicy one.
Yeah, this is absolutely going to be a spicy game here, as it's going to be 5 minutes till that Mountain Dragon does come up. It is quite nice if T1 can end up getting it for the Gragas, Maokai, and the Rumble, especially against the Jace and the Aatrox, even though it's only going to be one. That can play a part in the later stages of the game. So, DRX, they're ahead about 1,500 gold, but there's not a whole lot of chaos happening in this game. So, as long as the lanes just keep getting ping-ponged and no one's manipulating their lane state for their junglers, then everything should be okay. And Doran, you might ask yourself, why did he just shove out that wave as his jungler is making his way up into top lane? And one side of the coin would say, well, to further try to tell a story that it would be illogical for Sejuani to be here.
Another ultimate, but this time Relentless Pursuit is available. Teddy's moving up towards the top side, and Cuz is going to be in position. And it looks like no Shelly for this top lane at this point in time.
And if if Kana did end up going down there, that would have been the kill on Jace with the Rip Herald being summoned immediately. But they're not going to find any advantages in that regard, as Maokai continuing to get very tanky, as he has the Spectre's Cowl, has the Bomby Cinder as well. Deft trying to chip away at the turret plates down here in bottom. Chovy not finding the kind of CS advantage that one would have hoped for, as it looks like he might be going for the Death Dance. First item on the Aatrox.
Yeah, I think he did that last time as well, when we saw it against Damwon. There's Epic taking a fair bit of damage, Mega Inferno Bomb, just to try and clear out the minion wave and the Maokai. As we've got Doran back here towards the top side, he teleported in. Canna has his available still, and Keria is lying in wait to at least try and take down some of these wards. Doesn't have his Umbral Glaive completed just yet, and Cuz in position. So 2 versus 2, but jungler probably better than a support, as Piochi's going to come down bottom lane, and we are going to be able to relieve this bottom lane of its outer turret. As perfect timing there, we'll be able to just insta-kill this one. So Deft, a lot of extra money in his back pocket as he eats all of the plates and gets the first turret bonus here for DRX. And that is going to move them to over a 2,000 gold lead, as Chovy's going to take down a turret plate of his own.
Well, this is the best opening that DRX has managed to have in any of the 3 games. And we'll see what they can end up doing with it. 2 minutes until that Mountain Dragon does end up coming up, and that should be fought over by both of these parties, so see what that can end up meaning. Faker probably going to have the Oblivion Orb by then, so that'll be 33 pen on the Rumble, which is going to come pretty close to dealing true damage to several of the members.
Cuz body slamming his way out. You can see teleports in from T1 though. They're going to have 3 members down here. 2 versus 2 on the top side is confirmed as Bone Skewer goes wide. Keria goes underground, but is able to dash himself out of the way of the culling. He would have been shredded from that one. Damn, he does not have any resistances so far on this pike, and is now going to go back home. Piochik up here towards the top side, thinking about trying to put some pressure onto Canna, as Senna's going to go back home. And Keria once again back in position as well. As Effort, twisted advance just to get out of the way here, as the ulti is going to get flashed. And Teddy is going to survive for the moment.
And that is the Sejuani ultimate going down, but they do trade it for Kana's flash, so definitely a victory in that regard. 1 minute until the mountain comes up. You can see Senna with the Lucian up here, just trying to play relatively safe. As...
Oh, Shock Blast goes completely wide. Carrier doesn't give away his position, however, I don't think. As T1 still just holding on to all these turret plates. And it's pretty cool, actually. Just looks like a regular bottom lane that's been moved towards top side, but the nameplates read Canna and Teddy.
Yeah, and this is really stable early game. But DRX, they find themselves up 3,000 gold, and all of that stemming from turrets.
Yeah, a lot of turret plates taken by DRX, but not too many given over to T1. I believe it was just one that Canna was able to claim top lane, whereas there was a turret plate taken in mid, and there were all 5 of them taken on the bottom side of the map. So a big advantage there for DRX. Still not out of the woods yet, and this composition needs about a lead of this size if it's going to be able to find anything. So still, if you're a DRX fan, I wouldn't start counting your chickens. They ain't hatching yet.
No, and Mountain Dragon is live, and you can see Pyoshik actually immediately on top of it. Doesn't seem like T1 are even interested in trying to capture it. It seems like they want to try to scale up more before the inevitable big team fight that'll end up breaking out. So they get themselves the mountain, and it's going to be Infernal. So
that's going to be massive. If DRX can get this, Deft is going to be doing so much damage in this later stage of the game, because there is so much armor that's required to deal with Doran and Chovy and Carrier that there shouldn't be too much magic resist for Deft to worry about on his Ziggs. Oh my god, that's a move.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage coming out by the Jace. And so far, I mean, again, not really much. This is the first lull state we've had, Alice, and I don't think it's a coincidence that it's happening in match point for DRX, where it seems like everyone is just playing definitely a lot more reserved. I mean, Pyoshik has tried to make some plays happen on the top side of the map, but not really able to achieve anything. And if T1 can just hold this gold deficit and basically grapple with it for the next 10 minutes or so, constantly playing ping pong and being safe, they're going to be sitting really pretty in the mid to late transition. So that Infernal Dragon, it's really crucial that DRX find a way to end up getting it.
Yeah. So that's going to be up in about 3.5 minutes. Deft Piercing Darkness is actually going to land. A fair bit of damage there, but the answering damage is much higher, and even the Mega Inferno Bomb is going to secure a lot of Teddy's health bar. Carrier dashing on in here to make sure that he can peel for his Ziggs. And if Doran lands like 1 or 2 of these Shock Blasts onto Teddy, he's dead. And Deft should be able to offer some follow-up damage as well. I mean, the poke opportunities for this composition are certainly very high. And then if they're able to start a fight on their terms, then it's going to be very good. I think all eyes need to be on Cuz and what he can do to disrupt any potential team fights. Is Pyoshik going to be able to take Shirley as well, who has well and truly defected over to the side of DRX. Double heralds so far this game.
The gold lead extends to 3,500 gold right now. Deft.
Oh, that's a feels bad.
Yeah. Level
Sometimes
11.
the bounce doesn't work.
Yeah, sometimes it does not. Alice says maybe Doran is looking to set something up here with Carrier. And the Pike is so scary if he does end up giving the resets over.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of extra money for DRX.
Yeah. Black Cleaver going to be second item for Lucian. Not a whole bunch going on.
Baker in trouble. Yeah, pulled back. Does have to use the heal in order to survive this one. Still sitting at half health. You can see Chovy at full health after that. Death's Dance, one hell of an item. Not to mention just the fact that he is Aatrox. His World Ender now on cooldown, but not a huge deal. As Pyoshik moving towards the bottom side, Canna going to take a Shock Blast. Able to move out of some of the damage there, but into the Death Chamber is where he eventually went. And DRX now continue to shove down. And this is entirely the opposite of what we saw in game number 2. This is instead Doran with all of the control at this stage of the game.
And okay, well, T1 now falling down even further. And Doran's really bouncing back here in this series as Rift Herald's going to be spawned now down in bot lane. This should crash and get this bottom tier 2 turret. Equalizer, though.
Yep, Doran in a little bit of trouble as the Brambles do come forward. It's at least the Jace kill as Arctic Assault should try and get Pyoshik out of here. Able to answer with an ulti there onto Canna as he's slowed down And Pioshik's just trying to run his way out. The culling still available. And the flash eventually comes in, but Pioshik will not survive this. As they are going to take a fair bit of damage, but DRX trying to offer more back on the other side. Can't just deal with it. With this explosive blast, and Chovy up towards the top side should be able to deny his cannon wave, as well as get a little bit of damage onto this turret. So it's not ending for DRX, but still a bit of a swing back in control of the momentum for T1.
Yeah, T1 they get edges down the bottom, they have to drag over 4 members to end up doing it. Also, the barrel live. So he's busy flying up the bottom lane, getting actually gold for a skill change he wants to summon them, right? So getting the 4 kills in, Jovi going completely undetected up in the top lane, getting a lot of silver and a lot of gold. And T1 on the mini-map as well. Job frustrated. Jace gets brought down, they actually kill him.
So that's going to mean a 1-for-1 there towards the top side of the map and the Drake taken by DRX. That was a very strange sequence of events.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how Teddy got the kill.
It might have been the fact that he did the last damage to him and the staggered death dance damage came in. That may have been how it worked.
You are a bit of a savant, Atlas. That was not clicking in my head that was a thing.
Yeah, it's okay. I played a Brewmaster Monk in Legion. So right. I know all about that staggered damage.
So, okay. Chovy did end up dying, but the Infernal Dragon going over at this point is super big for DRX. So much free damage being given to them, and Kana might just die. No?
Not just yet. Does have Blade of the Ruin King, but not a lot of mana. This will mean that he's most likely going to have to go back home.
Let's take a look at this one more time. So, Chovy trying to kill the entire minion wave, flashes out of the way, and then you can see Cuz actually uncharacteristically missing on the ult, or maybe it's just a bad mana roll, as Senna did end up getting the kill down, but then the Maokai ended up falling shortly thereafter. So, still a 5,000 gold lead in DRX's favor.
And you can see where that 5,000 gold lead is. Deft is sitting at 240 CS at 22 minutes in this game, 1-0-0 right now, and does have a 200 gold bounty on top of everything else. So he's building towards his Rabbidan's death cap, and we'll have it relatively soon, as I'm once again ganked by a Ringo. He's really obsessed with this microphone, and it's making things pretty difficult. As T1, 4 members strong here, gathered around the mid lane. And Doran moving towards bot. Looks like DRX are going for some sort of 1-3-1 play with the Ziggs able to stay perpetually in that mid lane and clear out minion waves pretty much instantly.
And DRX, I mean, they just, if you're them right now, even though there was the potential that some of their champions would end up tapering off, the fact that they're in such a commanding game state leaves them feeling pretty comfortable. They can continue to wait for the dragons to sort of pile up. It's going to be another Infernal Dragon. These things just keep getting scarier and scarier, because you take a look at the Maokai, and he has a bit of Build-A-Bear going on right now. He has the Spectre's Cowl, Bramble Vest, Bomby, and Kindle Gem. So it's like a walking Walmart. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's...
Is it Spirit Visage first? Is that what he's going for? Is that Kindle Gem going to be turning into a... That's a Warmogs? No, dang it. He just built the Spirit Visage. It would have been way more fun if it was like supposed to be Spirit Visage, Warmogs, Thornmail, and Sunfire Cape, and he was going to use all of those base items to build those 4 items. Slot efficiency be damned. It's not what we're interested in this game. Just, you want to have your inventory full, because that means that you're the strongest. That's how that works.
All right. Well, Minute and a half until the Infernal comes up, and it really just looks like T1 are just slowly bleeding out here in this game.
As Mega Important. Oh my god, Teddy! What happened to your health bar, my dude? Alright, well, I think Teddy's going to be requesting not playing center in the next game. He wants to be able to actually do stuff, because in this game, he hasn't been able to, almost whatsoever. Minute and a half, and then we will have that Infernal Drake. I think DRX would have really liked to have chunked the members of T1 a little bit later on. I think trying to get that damage down at the right points is certainly going to be important, as Shock Blast is going to help do exactly that, as Deft big chunks of damage onto this turret every time he can get that passive proc. And Kana taken down to half. Teddy makes his way back to the lane and is asking Deft very nicely, can you please not kill me, as I'm just trying to get minions. Deft is going to be able to steal away yet another blue buff. They've had basically a monopoly on that blue buff so far this game. And this is a DRX that looks like they've rallied. It looks like they've turned their fortunes around. And they're moving towards a 7,000 gold lead right now.
Yeah, and I mean...
Mega Inferno Bomb stops some backs.
Getting worse and worse for T1 as this game continues to drag on, because the Dragons are causing such insane pressure for T1. Yeah, they moused over the damage.
Casual 700 damage that is unmitigated pretty much by Teddy, who's going to be sitting on what? 20 magic resist at best? I don't know, he's not going to have very much. Round 30, I'd assume. So, yeah, bad news bears. As Carrier gets a Bones Cure. I thought that was actually going to go wide, as he does eventually get out of there. Deep water dive, pretty good. As Effort throws over a little sapling. Chovy's going to get the knock-up onto the Maokai, as the double knock-up does eventually come in. But we do have the Piercing Darkness, and that should help keep these guys sustained. Pyosik very tanky as well on this Sejuani, as Shock Blast is going to go wide. Every time these abilities don't hit, it is good news as Doran taking a lot, but Kana going to take even more. Ulti comes out from the Sejuani onto Effort, though. He is a tank. He wants to be soaking these abilities, as now Chovy finds himself by himself, but able to Umbral Dash to get himself over the wall. Effort is going to have to go home. No Warmogs or anything like that to keep him alive, as Cuz looking to make this a 50-50, and it is going to be worth it. If he gets into this pit and dies, but he's able to take a dragon, that is fantastic news for T1, as they have full vision of this going down, as Cuz not in position, and now it's soul point for DRX. They're looking to try and make their way out. Effort teleports just a little too late.
Yeah, and he teleports in a little too late, but it doesn't really matter. T1 were basically all exhausted at this point. They have no major key cooldowns available to them. Their champions are very far behind. I mean, you take a look at the levels, Deft is 15. So just 3 entire base levels, and that's just skill points. That's added HP, it's extra little bit of resistances and whatnot. Teddy's 11, and Effort is 12. So there's a massive discrepancy there. Pyosik 2 levels up over Cuz, and Kana, I believe, is slightly actually ahead of Doran. He's going to end up getting this a whole wave. I believe he pings 15 soon, and that's the only place where T1 is finding any sort of advantage.
Well, I mean, Deft got a Flame Horizon at 26 minutes. That is definitely good. Builds a cool hat out of it. And Pyosik has more farm than their bottom lane farming champion. And it's a weird thing to sort of compare. Fast and Center does very strange things. Farm numbers, as I believe Teddy has started farming now. Certainly not going to be catching up to any relevant numbers, so I guess you could add those two together and then you get things a little bit closer, but still not going to anywhere near equate the amount of money that DRX has been able to put together. And with the fact that T1 has been trying to funnel Kana with more gold, it gets more and more dangerous. As, man, this is scary. Every time Carrier goes underwater, T1 has to respect it.
Yep. And the gold lead right now locked at 5,000. And things are definitely looking a bit disastrous right here in this game, as DRX, again, super comfortable. 3 minutes until Infernal Soul is going to be coming up, and that's one that they can just flip. If they end up getting it, which they should be able to, they could even just try to burst it down, and then Pyosik does have the smite advantage by 2 levels. It might even be 3 by then, because everyone is eating Cuz's camps, because they're trying to allocate gold into the primary carries. So we'll see what does end up happening. Effort is 13. He finally has Sunfire Cape and Spirit Visage. But that death cap on the Ziggs plus the 2 Infernal Souls, it's so much extra AP
Yeah, I want to mouse over the damage of that Mega Inferno Bomb again. I want to see them juicy numbers. That's doing easily over 1,000 at this point, and very close to true damage to someone like Teddy at the moment, who doesn't have any magic resist. And this tower is going to get booped. There it is. Satchel Charge takes care of it. And T1, I don't even know whether you want to get into flanking positions, gentlemen. It's just not looking like the game where things are going to go well for you, as Carrier able to dash his way out, but still going to take a fair bit of poke damage. Dawning Shadow avoided, as the Pyke is just going to utilize his passive and gets himself back up to at least 2/3 of his health bar. You can see Chovy, he's very close. He does have his 40% CDR, but almost has Spirit Visage. There are 2 of those Morellonomicons, the Forbidden Books, being completed by T1, but he needs to avoid.
Not to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, Chovy is invested very heavily into having a regenning health bar, so at least that's going to be partially mitigated. I just don't know whether it's going to be enough, as Teddy's going to pick up this blue buff. And once again, he just loves this microphone. Come on.
Well, totally fine, as Void Staff was picked up by Faker. And we'll see what T1 can do in about a minute's time. They are forced to team fight now over this next one, as ping pong is the name of the game here in the LCK. We do see this from time to time as we are approaching 30-minute mark. And everything for DRX right now, all that they need to do, control the low ground and make sure that T1 can never really enter the river, because T1 has one shot to beat DRX in a team fight, and it's going to be inside of the Equalizer cask as well as the Mount. Yeah, it's, I mean, it's
1,300 damage.
Yeah.
That's silly. That's, of course, in the middle. It does 800 damage if you're not in the dead center of the Mega Inferno Bomb, guys. That's how that one works. Regardless, if you're in that circle, no matter which one, you're going to be taking a hell of a lot of damage. Teddy could probably die if you sit by the middle of it right now, but Def just wants to hold on to that artillery strike for as long as possible. Oh, goodbye! That was blind. He just put the ward down. Unless they were clearing it out. I think they were clearing a ward out. But as I say it, yeah, there it is. That's what can happen. As now we've got 6 seconds on the Infernal Soul, and T1 has to do it without Teddy. He has no teleport. He's dead for another 25 seconds.
And the Ziggs is showing up here in match point for DRX. They just need to turn and get the Infernal Soul. They're going to start it up. Cuz needs to be a hero here. Teddy is up with his ultimate, but he's not going to be at the team fight. And this is do or die. They need to stop the Gragas from entering.
If he can steal it, no, it's not going to happen. And there is Infernal Soul. Massive damage, but the Dawning Shadow, it flies over to keep everyone on T1 alive. But I think it's only bought a very small amount of time for this team. 7,000 gold is the lead. Baron on the mind of DragonX. And team fights, they are all but one already for this DragonX squad.
Yeah, this game is over, Atlas. There is no conceivable universe where... Yeah, that was, yeah.
Oh no, there was no ward.
That book
he was
that he
just
threw,
dead.
That's Morello. That is actually...
That's actually what it does to your brain when people buy it. That's the perfect image to show people what happens in your mind when Morellonomicon's purchased.
That's exactly what is going on. As Baron Dance is now going to unfold, there's no way for T1 to sort of resist the Jace and the Ziggs now with the Infernal Soul. This game is completely unfair at this point, and it's one that didn't really have a whole lot of action. So, very slow and steady, and DRX ended up coming out on top, and interestingly enough, finally managing to make the Ziggs work. You can see how careful they're being, though, in this game, unwilling to just immediately start up the Baron. Maybe a little bit of PTSD or something going on there, not totally sure, as they have 100% win rate with Dragon Soul.
Also, yeah, Deft just seeing whether he does 100% Teddy's health bar with his ultimate, which I think is the thing that's the biggest worry right now. Oh my god.
1v3.
That was a like Infernal Soul proc onto effort that took like a quarter of his health bar. And he's a tank.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Just ludicrous. It's like walking over a minefield. It literally is walking over. He has a minefield ability. This is silly.
Well, they are being super patient as they do wait.
Guaranteeing that there's no vision around this area. Kyochik just walks on in. Isn't too scared about what T1 can do as he looks to clear away that control ward. But DRX just making sure all of these waves are pushed up. You can see at least T1 able to move into their bottom side jungle. Carrier getting some vision over the top. And Kuz, oh, barely moves out of the way as my desk is being rid of all of the things that are on it. The swishy tail. As DRX finally pull the trigger, they are going to start off with Baron immediately. T1 do throw down that small ward. Area lying in wait. Equalizer goes down onto everyone from Faker. As Deft down to about half. Effort trying to move in here. There are no smites for this Baron though, and it will be taken. The flash in. Cuz was there to try and make it a 50-50, but Baron is going to finally defect. It chooses DRX for this game as Cannon's going down very low. Carrier just trying to take him, and he's going to be able to. Gets the reset on top of it. There's the other one. So much money for DRX. How unfortunate that they're not going to be able to spend it because they're deciding that it's time to win the game.
And they're going to be able to end the game. The death timers are way too high. Top minion wave in super close proximity. And this means that we're going to a game number 4, which no one was probably expecting after watching the first 2 games. But DRX in this game 3 match point managed to fight back, and Deft with a really good performance on the Ziggs.
Yeah, I even think we need to send in the vote. Deft should just be getting the POG no matter what happens. He was extraordinary that game. Just so incredibly consistent, and that's exactly what you want to see. If you're a DRX fan, if you're just a Deft fan in general, right? This has not been the Deft that we're used to seeing towards the